have learned compound interest before, and just give a thumbs down in the chat if you haven't learned compound interest before. Just put it in the chat, everyone. Just so I just want to get a sense of where we are. Okay, so if you are learning it tonight for the first time, no stress. And if you haven't done it in school, you will probably at some point. So it's good to get a bit of a head start, I'd say. Okay. Yeah, Chluma's writing math test tomorrow. Good luck. Good luck. And Connor, you're going to walk into class tomorrow knowing exactly what's going on. Okay, Bokamuso's got her hand up. Let's hear Bokamuso.
Yeah, but I'm guessing I could also do that in the chat.
Oh, sorry, Bokamuso, I can't hear you. I don't know, Ms. Kaka, is it just me or is it her connection maybe?
I think it might be Bokamuso's connection, yeah.
Oh, sorry, Bokamuso, I couldn't hear that, but type it in the chat for me. Then just type it in the chat, then I'll be able to get your message.
And I'm having trouble muting her, so it's a little awkward. Sorry,
Okay,
Bokamuso.
sorry, Bokamuso, we can't hear you, so we're just going to get cracking with the compound interest. Right, so compound interest is a way in which banks, especially banks and those sort of financial institutions where you could save your money, they normally charge compound interest. And what it is that you earn or pay interest on interest. So a simple interest is just always on the original amount. Compound interest accumulates. So if you put money away, your interest will be calculated on the money you put away initially, plus the interest that you earned up to that point. So what happens is that your money actually grows exponentially. So that's why we end up with this formula that we can use for compound interest. And you're welcome to take a screenshot or to write it down. And the main thing is, the important part is that where we had the simple interest, we had P is 1 plus I times N. That was simple interest. But this one, it's 1 plus I to the power of N. And that is because of that interest on interest that we get, the exponential growth that happens when we do compound interest. Okay, so what do these variables mean? A stands for the accumulated amount. That just means what you have at the end of your investment or at the end of your loan period. So whatever amount you have accumulated at the end of the time period that you're looking at. And P is what you start off with. It's the same with simple interest. So P is your initial amount, your principal interest, and then N is the duration, for how long you put it away for. But it also has to do with how many times you are earning interest. So it's how long, but it also relates to how many times you earn interest. Okay. Okay, so we're going to start and get into it right away because I see most of you have already learned this at some point. So let's see. Now, what happens with compound interest is that you can get interest compounded a different amount of times, depending on what the bank agrees or what they say their policy is. So let's start off just by looking at when interest is compounded annually. So Stephen invested 5,200 Rand at 12% per annum compounded annually. Calculate the final amount that he obtained after investing it for 4 years. Okay, so let's start off by writing our formula. This is compound interest, so let's write that down. And then let's write down our variables, what they are. So he invested 5,200, that's our P. 12% per annum is our interest compounded annually. And we have to calculate the final amount and the number of years that the money is being put away, that's in. So we can substitute in what we have. So that's 5,200. And then our interest rate is always as a decimal. So we write it as 0.12, or you can just go 12 divided by 100. And then the N is the number of years, or the number of times you earn interest, which is annually. So that's going to be 4. Okay, and let's put that into our calculator while I hear what Sipukazi wants to ask. Sipukazi, you have your hand up. You can ask your question, Sipukazi. Let's pop it in the chat, guys, when you have the answer. Yeah.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi there.
Ma'am, may you please go back so that I can take a screenshot of
Okay.
the, yeah. Sorry to
Sure.
disturb you.
Okay, no problem. I'll go back at the end. Let's just quickly focus on this question. And also, Sipukazi, you can pop your question or stuff like that in the chat anytime, or just DM Ms. Coco as well.
Okay,
Then it might be quicker than raising your hand sometimes. Okay, so be careful how you work your calculator, guys. I see too many thousands there. So just make sure you got your calculator right and that we are rounding to 2 decimal places, 8182,30. Okay, nice. Right, so let's do the second one. I'm going to leave you alone on your own for a bit, for about a minute, as you do the second one with Jason. Okay, we'll check back in at past. Don't put answers in the chat yet. We'll check in at past what your answer is. Apelele, you're having a little laugh there. I wonder why. Typed a haha by mistake. Okay, let's go with that. Okay, right, guys, let's put our answer in the chat. pop your answer in the chat if you are done. We must round to 2 decimal places, so remember to do that. Okay, good stuff. Quite a few of you, I think, got the right answer. So our principal amount is 15,000. We're going to pop that into the formula. And then our interest is 0.11. And it is to the power of 19 because for 19 years, the money is going to be there in the account. And he's going to earn interest 19 times. So I also got 108,950,16. Great stuff. Okay, not so bad. Now, let's see. Well done, everyone. Now, let's see. Sometimes it changes the number of times the interest gets compounded, in other words, calculated or added onto the investment. Sometimes that changes, and that can happen quarterly, semi-annually, or monthly. So if you want to take a screenshot of these little bubbles that I've got here, because it says how many times a year quarterly translates to. So quarterly, there are 4 quarters in a year. You earn interest every 3 months. So that means you will get interest 4 times a year. Yes, Pamelo. Pamelo, you can unmute and ask your question. Okay, I'm not hearing Pamelo. So, so that's if it's quarterly. Now, it can also be semi-annually, and you're welcome to take a screenshot of that bubble with semi-annually, because semi-annually means every 6 months, so twice a year. So it's important that we know what these words mean. Okay, Ms. Coco, could you assist Pamelo, please? Okay. Right, so while we digest that a little bit, quarterly, semi-annually, let's hear from Moleboheng.
Ma'am,
Yes.
can you please explain number 3 again?
That's just with quarterly. I'm just explaining the different time periods. Quarterly means every quarter, so that's every 3 months. So that means you're going to get interest 4 times a year.
Okay.
And semi-annually means twice a year, so every 6 months. And yeah, so that's just the different words that get used, and you must just know what they mean in terms of how many times you get interest. But we're going to do a bunch of examples now, so it will become more clear. Okay.
Thank you.
So in Saku, that formula is for simple interest, which we did in Tuesday's lesson. This is now compound interest. Okay, so it's different. So it has a different formula. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. 8,800 Rand is invested for 3 years at an interest rate of 7.5% per year, compounded monthly. What is the value of the investment after 3 years? I'm just going to add here after 3 years. Okay, so let's start off, and we're going to do compound interest, and we need to calculate the value of the investment after 3 years. So A is what we need to calculate. P is what we start off with. Malwande, I'm not going to take a question now. I'm just going to explain this example. And if you still have a question after that, you can just put your hand up again. So, or you can also DM Ms. Coco and she can also assist you. Okay, so the P value, the amount of money we put away, the principal is 8,800 Rand. The time period is 3 years, but we are compounding monthly. So how many times a year are we going to get interest? Pop it in the chat if you know. If we are compounding monthly, how many times a year do we get interest? Yes, that's right, Nkilikita. It is 12 times a year. So what we need to do is take the years, because we are putting the money away for 3 years. So take the years and times it by 12, because in each year we're going to earn interest 12 times. So that's why we take the years and times it by 12. Okay, now we're going to put this into our formula. So that's 8,800. 1 plus, oh, we didn't write down our interest rate. Our interest rate is 7.5% as a decimal, so 0,075. So 0,075. And we are going to divide the interest rate by 12 because we are compounding monthly. And our N is going to be 36 because we need to times the number of years by 12 because we are compounding monthly. Right. Pop a thumbs up in the chat if you understand about the different compounding period being monthly and that you have to times your years by 12 and divide your interest rate by 12. Sometimes. If you are not sure, then pop a question in the chat or to Ms. Coco. Okay, Bokamusa, you have your hand up.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Yeah, sorry, the first time I buffed it a little bit, but then yeah, let's forget about that. So I wanted to ask Name, will it still give you the exact same answer if you were to first go like 8,800 1 plus 0.075, and then outside, and then you first work out the A value, like in the way you would usually work out a simple normal interest value, and then after that you use now the accumulated divided by the amount of months. Will it still be the exact same thing?
No, just do it this way. Because it's compound interest, we shouldn't mix up simple interest and compound interest.
Oh, okay. So I should just immediately just go by, okay, put in the months. I shouldn't start by using the years instead of the months thingies.
No, you have to do it this way because the interest is compounded, so you can't go afterwards and try and divide. It's also completely overcomplicating it maybe, so just use the compound interest formula. Okay, so Eunice is okay. Eunice is asking why we are dividing with 12. It's because of the monthly compounding. So what it means when you are compounding monthly is means that every month you get, if your interest rate is 7.5%, you get part of that interest rate. So instead of getting the full 7.5% once a year, like we did in this first example, when you are compounding monthly or quarterly or semi-annually, that interest rate is split differently. So in this case, we are splitting it monthly. So because it is monthly, we divide by 12. Yeah, so the interest rate they give you is for the whole year, but if you are compounding monthly, it means that you're getting a portion of the interest rate. Yes, every month, a little bit every month. Okay, have we got an answer for this one? Let's see. 8,800, 1 plus 0.075 divided by 12 to the power of 36. And I see a few of you got an answer of 11,012,73. That is correct. Well done. Okay, right. Let's try another one, guys. Okay, so we've got in question 5, 9,800 Rand is invested for 4 years at an interest rate of 6% per year, compounded semi-annually. So semi-annually, like I wrote here in the green bubble, that means every 6 months, so twice a year. Okay, so that means our interest rate, if it is compounded semi-annually, it gets compound. You're going to get interest how many times a year if it's semi-annually? Put it in the chat if you know. Not 4 times, think again. 2, that's right. Twice a year, yeah. Good stuff. Okay, so let's write down our formula and let's do our variables. So A is what we are solving for. P is the amount of money we put away. That's 9,800. Andiswa, we are not dividing by 36. We are raising it to the power of 36 because you are investing the money for 3 years and your interest is compounded monthly. So it's 3 times 12 is 36. That's where it comes from. Okay, back to the current problem. So P is 9,800. Now let's see. We are putting our money away for 4 years, but it is compounded semi-annually. So what do you think we're going to times the 4 by if it is compounded semi-annually? That's right. We're going to times it by 2. So that gives me 8. And what are we going to do with our interest rate? Our interest rate is 0.06. What are we going to divide the interest rate by 4? By 4, sorry, not by 4. We're going to divide the interest rate also by 2. So do you guys see how it works? You times the years by 2 if it's semi-annually, and you divide the interest rate by 2 if it's semi-annually. Okay, let's put that into our formula. So that's 9,800. 0.06 divided by 2 to the power of 8. Okay, and pop your answer in the chat when you have it. Good stuff. I agree. Okay, excellent. Right. So that's our different time periods that we can have when we're doing compound interest: annually, semi-annually, quarterly, monthly. Okay, so let's practice some more. Okay, first question is up, and I'm going to leave you for about a minute to practice the first one on your own. Don't put answers in the chat yet. When we call for answers, you can pop them there. And I'm going to take Bouquet's question. Hi, Bouquet. Oh, Bouquet is asking in the chat, why do we divide by 2? Okay, so Bouquet, that's when you are compounding interest semi-annually. Are you there? Did you unmute? Gone again. Okay, so that's when you, and I'm just going to quickly go back to where we did the semi-annually. So semi-annually means you get your interest twice a year, and that's why we divide the interest rate by 2 and we times the time period by 2, because for each year you're going to get interest twice. So that's why we times by the 2. But the interest rate is split over 2 compounding periods, as we call them. So you have to divide your interest rate by 2. Okay, back to the question. And let's see. Okay, so remember, guys, if it doesn't say anything, it's just annual interest. You're just doing interest annually. Yes, Asipo.
Good evening, ma'am. Can ma'am quickly please go back to number 5? I quickly want to take a screenshot.
We can go back afterwards. I just need to leave it here because the class needs to do this question. So at the end of the lesson, we normally go back if there are screenshots that you missed. Okay.
Okay, ma'am, no problem. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, pop your answer in the chat for question 1. Okay, let's go through that first one. So it's compound interest. So we are investing 10,500 and our interest rate is 0.105. Since it's just annually, we don't have to worry about dividing the interest rate. It's just 1 and it is to the power of 7. And I agree with you. I also get 21121,52. Okay, great. On to the next one. So, how much will I have in my account if I invest 8,950 for 4 years at 8% per annum compounded monthly? We don't divide by 6 or 2 year. No, we don't. You don't see the word semi-annually. You don't see the word monthly. But in the next one, we are compounding monthly. So now we need to think about dividing and multiplying. Okay. So hold on, guys. Don't put answers in the chat yet. We are just giving everyone a chance to think about this one. Yes, Letabo. Everyone else, you can pop your answer in the chat. Letabo, what is your question? Letabo, you have your hand up. Okay, Miss Coco, maybe if you can reach out to Watobe and see what they want to ask. Okay, so we've got 8950 as the principal amount. It is 4 years and it's 8%, and we are going to compound monthly. So we need to divide our interest rate by 12. And for our years, because we are going to get interest compounded monthly, that means it's going to be 12 times a year, and there are 4 years. So it's 4 times 12, that gives me 48. And let's see if all you Watobians are correct. So we put into the calculator 8950, 1 plus 0.08 divided by 12 to the power of 48. Or I think a few of you need to go and relook. Let's try that again. I'm going to give you guys a minute. I don't know if people are just copying answers, but it's not recommended because many of you got the wrong one here. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds to calculate that again and pop your correct answer this time into the chat. Okay. This is what the answer should have been. Well done to those of you who got it right first time round. Everyone else, be careful who you imitate. Yes, yeah, Timba. While we wait for Timba, everyone else start question 3. Yes, yeah, Timba.
Could you please explain how do you get 12 for the number 2? I'm confused.
Why do you divide? I can't hear you very well. Just repeat that.
She's asking, why do you divide by 12? I think is what she's asked.
Okay, so we divide by 12 because the interest is compounded monthly, meaning instead of getting the interest just once, we are going to get it over 12 months. That's what compounded monthly means. So we have to take the interest rate and divide it by 12. If it was quarterly, we divide it by 4. If it was semi-annually, we divide it by 2, like we did in those first examples. So it just all depends on how many on the compounding period. I'm not sure where I wrote A instead of P. I used P for the principal and A is my final amount. So, right. Okay, guys. As soon as you're ready, pop your answer in the chat for Cindy. Cindy wants to buy a car for 85,000 Rand in 3 years' time. She invests 60,000 at 12% per annum for the 3 years, compounded semi-annually. Will she have enough money? Let's see.
Ma'am, I think Cindy needs to plug me to tell me where she's buying these nice cars for 85,000.
For 85,000.
Because my skodonk is also giving up, so I think I'm going to need a new car. So Cindy needs to help me out.
It's in textbook land where she's buying this.
There's no car that costs this little, unfortunately, unless it's secondhand.
Yeah. We're getting conflicting answers here. So we have our p-value, that's 60,000, and we are compounding semi-annually. So P is 60. Our interest rate is 12%, so that's 0.12. And because it's semi-annually, if you were paying attention in our first few examples, semi-annually means we divide by 2. And because it is for 3 years and she is getting interest twice a year, we have to times the year by 2. So let's see if Cindy can afford this course. Some of you seem to say that she can. She's getting just over 85,000. Let's see. Some of you are saying that she is like tripling her money. And I think you need to relook your calculations. Okay, so 1 plus 0.12 divided by 2 times 3 times 2 for the n, which is 6. And that is going to give us, let me quickly do this on my calculator. I also get 85,111. Well done, guys. Yes, Lanella, she can afford it. Therefore, yes. Okay. Malwandi's hand is up. Let's hear from you, Malwandi.
Good day, ma'am.
Hi there.
Hi. So I have a question here. My teacher doesn't teach me like this. I'm not just offending, but I'm sharing my opinions. So
Okay.
my teacher told me that if we have a bracket and a cube, we need to divide by that bracket that is disturbing the calculation.
I think you are thinking of a different calculation. Okay, it's not the same as this one. I think you maybe just, I think just go back and look at what it was that your teacher showed you, because I think it's just, she was probably showing you something else. Yeah, I think Lanelo's got it there when we calculate the principal amount. So we're not calculating principal amount yet. We are just doing straightforward, just calculating A values. We're not calculating P values. Bokamuso?
Yes, ma'am. Nay, I feel like I'm getting a little lost here. Where did we get the 6 from?
That's from the 3 years, and she's getting interest semi-annually, so you times it by 2. That's where the 6 comes from.
May I know the reason why do we times the amount of years by 2 now?
Because the interest is compounded semi-annually, meaning Cindy will get interest twice a year. So if you're getting interest twice a year and you're doing it for 3 years, then you're literally doing you're getting interest 6 times. Yeah.
Oh, okay, no, it's fine. No, I get it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, right, everyone, we're gonna leave it there for this evening because we still have a poll to do. And yeah, we will be back here on Thursday with more compound interest and exchange rates, and we are going to be solving for P on Thursday as well. So those of you who have done it already, we are going to be doing that too. Okay, so thanks so much. It was lovely having you all here, and I'll see you Thursday again. Bye. Lashandra, yes, she's got about 100 for the petrol. So at least she can drive it out of the garage.
Just around the corner, ma'am. Just around the corner.
Yeah, no,
All right, guys.
definitely not to Joburg.
No.
Yes, Sipokazi. Okay, so Sipo's asking for question 5. So I take it that's from our last one here. Question 5. Bye, Emilio.
Leah Kima, what was your other option? I don't know what you chose now, so we can record what the other option is.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
I'm not sure. Mwanda's asking the list question, please. I'm not sure. Ms. Kaga, do you know which question that is?
I think she means last. Last question.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to leave this one up and I'm going to go to this side for those of you who want this page. And then I'll go back to the last slide again. Okay, guys, I'm going through the whole lesson, so just hang on with your screenshots. It's coming.